Okay, today we are going to be recreating this incredible makeup look on Zara Larson by her makeup artist Sophia Sano. I've recreated a Zara Larson look in the past. I asked you guys on Instagram what celebrity recreation you wanted to see next, and overwhelmingly people asked for Zara Larson because her makeup artist Sophia is incredible. She's also done work on Doja Cat, some just like incredibly avant-garde, artistic, beautiful works. So we're gonna do this beautifully like colorful look that was inspired by this fabulous little crab. And you can see it when you see the like side-by-side photos. It's amazing. Really quick, horrible news that Auric is going out of business. But pick up your faves while you still can. Some of my faves are the Plush Rituals, and Sam very kindly sent me a beautiful package of a bunch of my favorites. So pick them up while you still can. I know she said that she's gonna be able to do some restocks on some things, but yeah, RIP. RIP to a real one. So I'm gonna start off with the eyeliner, then I'm gonna do the whole face, and then we're gonna go back into the details of the eyes. This is just the way that I wanna work because the eyeliner is black. I might do a tiny bit of smoking with some eyeshadow. So in terms of like the order in which you do things, if you wanna recreate a look like this, just like take a second to like map it out and just think about what might be a little messy. For me, I don't trust myself to not get fallout if I use a little bit of black shadow, okay? So we're gonna start off with the eyes first. I'm gonna prep my under eyes with the Skin Iceland Hydra Cool, is that what they're called? Oh my God, I haven't used these in so long and I remember the name. Hydra Cool Firming Eye Gels, and put them on whichever, like however you, don't wanna do them like this. Maybe I'll do them like this time. I like to do it this way, but some people like to do it the other way, and I've done it both ways, so it doesn't really matter. So I'm gonna prime my lids using MAC Soft Ochre, which is the OG. I'm gonna use a decent amount of this because I want a nice, clean base. And since I'm doing my eyes first, I really like to make sure that I'm providing enough coverage so that I don't have to take concealer up high, you know? When I do my eyes first, my process looks ever so slightly different. So again, it's gonna be up to you to make those kind of like small changes depending on like what finish you want or like whatever. I think I put these up a little bit high. They're kind of like squeezing my eyes. In terms of skin prep, I just hydrated my face with a little bit of like a mist. I used Aven, and then I went in with a few drops of azelaic acid, the azelaic acid 10 from Anua, and then the, oh my God, I just forgot the Innisfree. Is it Innisfree? I always want to say Isnfree. I don't know why. The ceramide, like milky toner. I used that as my moisturizer basically for today. I'm gonna be using Marc Jacobs. I finally received Marc Jacobs PR. Very excited. I'm gonna be using the eyeliner in, I'm assuming it's black, but what's it called? No Shade. It's gonna be my first time using it, but I swatched it because I was like, is this as good as the OGs? And I have to say, the packaging is very cute. Like I do like the addition of the little stars and such. I do. And then I'm just gonna grab, I have this little brush that I picked up. I think I got it on Amazon. It's from Jessup Beauty. This is the small tongue. It's actually a lip brush, 313 brush, but I'm gonna use this to kind of like blend out my eyeliner. So she has a little bit of, it's really hard to tell because the only photo I have of this look is her looking down. So I can't really see it when it's open, but she has like just basically like a very, very thin liner. So I'm gonna start off here, just lining the outer end of the eye. And then I'm going to wing it out a little bit, slightly. And then I'm just gonna go in with this brush and pull it out to make it thinner. And especially if you're like me and you got little like folds and stuff, you know, doing your eyeliner first before your base really allows you to make those mistakes and clean up. So just patting this into the lash line. The liner is like basically here to define the lashes. you know, and give a little bit of like a makeup look to this incredibly avant-garde look overall. So we are shaping the eyes, defining the lashes, creating a guide. I always do this side more vertical. I don't know why. Even when I try to make up for it, it just always ends up more vertical. But whatever. All right, I'm not gonna worry about cleaning up yet. So she has like a little bit of a hooded eye wing going on. So I'm gonna pull a little bit of this back here. Okay, and then we're gonna use that same brush to kind of pull it in, and then just filling in the bottom part. So you can see when I look up like this, you can see that we have like a nice hooded eye wing going on. Same thing on the other side. I'm just gonna pull this. I am gonna set this with a black shadow, so I'm not worrying about blending it perfectly, because this is not a kohl liner, although it's relatively creamy when you apply it. It does start to set, and then it sets. So if you feel more comfortable working with like something a little bit more kohl-like, then you're probably gonna want to use like a Lisa Eldridge or Victoria Beckham. Speaking of Lisa Eldridge and Victoria Beckham, I feel like those eyeliners, like no one compares anymore. So like, I remember loving the Marc Jacobs liners, but that was just kind of like, all right, it's an eyeliner, you know what I mean? It's kind of sad. All right, I'm gonna grab a teeny tiny little Refer 23 brush, one of my faves, this teeny tiny little guy, and a black shadow. I'm gonna grab the Divination palette from Blend Bunny's collaboration with Robert Welsh, and just grab Meg, focusing that on the tip of the brush, and I'm just gonna go in and set this liner and really, really focus it close to the lash line so that the deepest, darkest color is right up against that lash line. And then we'll go in and clean up. So I'm gonna allow it to kind of get like a little bit like bigger than I want it to be. We have very different eyes, so like as always, do it for your eye shape, you know? All right, I'm gonna go in with the Half Magic, this guy, whatever it's called, Magic Flick Eraser, and do some cleanup. All right, I guess I didn't really get that much to follow. I'm just gonna leave that. And there's some cream shadow happening later on with like these cool shapes. So they're very close. One of them is very, very close to the liner. So if I need to kind of like tone this part down that got like a little bit thick, I'll do it then, but regardless. I'm gonna grab that 23 once again with a little bit of the soft ochre and just place it like around the eyeliner where I cleaned up and sort of removed it. I'm gonna take off the eye gels, which like we didn't get any fallout. It was kind of unnecessary, but whatever. I love to prep an under eye. Zara is full glam, okay? Maximalism. So we are like full coverage here. So I'm gonna use the new Hung Bango foundation because this does provide like incredible coverage. It also has like kind of a blur effect to the face. I don't know how it's gonna do over all my breakouts right now, but I feel like the last time I used it, it was pretty damn good. So I'm using the shade number 2, which is basically the closest shade. It's like a little bit dark, and I would say a little bit orangey for my skin tone, but it works, especially because Zara is incredibly like tan and like bronzed. So I don't really mind using a foundation that's gonna be a little dark for me. So I'm applying with this with a damp sponge. I'm gonna start off around my nose. My skin was nicely hydrated, not overly hydrated. So I didn't feel the need to go in with any kind of like primer or anything. But you know your skin best. Yeah, this foundation really, it fills the pores. It really does create like this soft blur effect to the skin. It's pretty incredible. Which I would say typically when a foundation claims that, I don't necessarily like believe it most of the time, but this really does. It like presses into the pores and just like softens. It just softens things. Because I have quite a bit of texture going on with my skin right now while I adjust some things, although I'm on the right path and I can feel it. So I'm letting things be, but despite the texture, it really just, it looks so beautiful. It looks so like beautifully hydrated. Quite nice, quite nice. All right. I am going to speed through my lower jawline contour and also contouring my nose because it's very particular to me. So if you have something that's very particular to you, then go ahead and do that. If you are interested, if you're like, wait, what? I wanted to see that, I will pop a video up here about how I contour my jawline. It's super helpful, but it has nothing to do with this look in particular, so it's really just for me. She's really just like bronzed. She's not like cut contour, she's like blush and bronze, okay? Her bronzer is so red. And I don't like it because I just don't think it's gonna look good on my skin tone. It looks great on her. I'm gonna go in with my Scrandie Beauty Snatched Contour Block in light, and we're just gonna really, really bronze. We're gonna really bronze. I'm gonna draw straight up on my face, okay? Oh, okay. That was actually more than I wanted. And then for the cheeks, obviously, so we're not really doing like a sculpting contour, but she is bronzed. On the cheeks. And especially for my face shape, I don't want to completely lose shape, you know? So I'm gonna go in with my Rephr 38 brush, start blending this to really, really shape that forehead because, oh my God, is her forehead bronzed and or blushed and or blonzered. Blonzered? It's defined. Okay, there's makeup all over it. So really, really defining the whole forehead, especially like I would say temples are here. I would say defining just above the temples towards the outer part of the brow is really where you see a lot of that definition. So just reinforcing that this forehead is three-dimensional. And then for cheeks, we're essentially going to use it as like a contour replacement, I guess, for those of you who are used to contour. We're keeping it a little softer. And then just softening toward the front of the cheek because the blush is definitely a show stealer. Show stealer? Showstopper. Show stealer. It's stealing the show and it's stopping the show. So really following like the natural lines of the face, and again, not overly sculpting. So we don't want any like hard lines here. Everything is quite soft. And we are going to be reinforcing everything with powder. So if it doesn't look so Zara right now, give it time, all right? This is a trust the process. This is a trust the process look. For my concealer, I'm going to do a little bit of color correction underneath my eyes. I'm gonna be using Nougatine NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer to color correct. Just color correcting those dark circles. Wiping off my brush and just buffing the lines. So no additional product. I'm actually like removing some product, and then I'm just sort of like buffing around the lines because I don't like to take my concealer up super far because I just get creasing no matter what. So I'm just trying to like kind of soften that because she really doesn't have any darkness, you know? So I'm trying to get as close as possible. And then for my concealer, I think I'm gonna use also NARS in the shade Chantilly, which is just their lightest shade. I'm gonna use that all over the face. So just in all the areas that I want to brighten and also provide more coverage. So just under the eyes. I'm gonna add a little more coverage here, although it's probably gonna get covered up by blush. Center of the forehead. chin, just under the corner of the mouth, around the nose, and then a little bit here just to provide a little more coverage. And I'm gonna go in with my little beauty blender that is damp that I just cut in half. People ask me about this sponge all the time. It's a little dry, so I'm gonna just rehydrate it with the Lisa Eldridge face mist. You can use a setting mist. I just like sometimes I like to use like the Scandinavia setting mist. I just need like a little bit of like wet back in it, you know what I mean? This is definitely not my lightest concealer. I'm not like highlighting like crazy, although it is, you know, lighter than what we have going on the rest of the face. So we are doing a bit of highlighting, but I'm trying to maintain her slightly more bronzy look on my pale ass skin. I don't know if it's gonna work, but yeah, that's the theory anyway. And for those of you who are looking for a full coverage concealer that has a beautiful formula, this has probably become, I think it might have become my favorite. I really, really like it. It's a beautiful formula and it just like, it really stays put. If you're prepping your skin properly, it's really gonna do the most for you. Okay, we're gonna go in with blush. So she has a beautiful blush color going on her skin. I'm going to use Buxom Plump Shot in Tickled Pink. It's one of my favorite blush formulas in the entire world. Like it's just so absolutely gorgeous. And also one of my favorite colors. So I'm gonna use my blush 38. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I have a contour bronze 38 and a blush 38. And I use them interchangeably for creams and powders. I'll just like buff off my brush basically. But I like having one that's like brown and then one that's pink. Cause like I often use this for my highlighter too. Anyway, you can obviously just use one of them, but I like having two going. So I'm gonna dip into this and I'm gonna buff a little bit on the back of my hand, even though this is like quite a blushy look. I just want to make sure that I'm not like going in with too much initially because we are going to go in with a powder. And you want things to look soft and blended. So her cheeks are blushed. Like she is so blushy. So I'm going to focus it like right here on the cheek and then start slowly diffusing this towards the eye, slightly towards the center of the cheek. Her blush and her bronzer really do feel like just like one thing. So if you have like a bronzer, this is the time to use it. So I'm gonna use this blush up towards my temples. I'm gonna kind of diffuse this into the bronzer. We're just gonna be using so many different products. Like creams, powders, multiple bronzers, multiple blushes. And I have no insider knowledge as to how Sophia Snow does Zara Larson's makeup. Like I have no idea what her process is. So we are winging it here. And then she definitely has quite a bit over the top of her nose. So just like on the top, it doesn't really look like it's like taken down to the sides of the nose. So just like in this top strip, I'm just going kind of over where I contoured. Quite sunburnt. Okay, I am going to quickly speed through my spot concealing technique. Again, this is a technique that if you would like further explanation for this, I will pop up oh my god, I can't speak right now. My detailed video about this technique right here. It's gonna go right here. Actually, you know what? I'm not gonna speed through it. I'm just gonna, we're gonna just cut it. So I did my spot concealing. I am going to start off by applying powder versions of the products that I have already used. So I'm gonna go in with a bronzer and then a blush to set basically my creams because I don't want to get overly matte. So I'm gonna start off with those and kind of like work my way backwards sort of. I think I'm gonna use my bronzer from Bosma. This is in the shade Light. And I'm gonna grab this brush from Refer, which I believe was a limited edition, but yeah, I don't think that this is still available, but any big, like a larger fluffy brush, basically. We want like a very, very, very diffused application. So I'm gonna make sure that I'm tapping off my brush, kind of pressing into the powder and then tapping it off. And then what I'm gonna do is no swiping allowed. I'm just going to gently bounce this off the skin in all the areas that I applied bronzer. This is a really, really great, it's a great way to create a more diffused look on the skin, and also to prevent removing any of the coverage if you did do spot concealing, if you do have breakouts that you know, concealed and you don't want to remove coverage. So always remember that, like, just because you're applying a powder doesn't mean that you have to swipe or rub against your skin. It's probably one of the like biggest mistakes that I see people make, to be honest. That's quite a bronzed forehead, all right? I think we're looking quite Zara-like right now. Now I'm gonna take that same brush and same thing, really setting that bronzer. And then I'm also going to just kind of pat it in the outer perimeter of the face to make sure that everything is just melted together so that all these colors make sense. Really bringing an emphasis to the center of the face. So you can see that difference there. Okay, and then for blush, I'm going to grab my Hung Van Gogh blush. I love this blush color so much. This is Second Language. Look at that. Ooh. And I'm just gonna flip the brush, buff the brush off and then flip it over, basically. And do the same thing, just like work it into the blush, tapping it off. This is actually like, it's more pigmented than you think. And I'm gonna use this mostly like right here, in the very center of the cheeks, to just reinforce that blush and add like more of a pop in that area. It's gonna look crazy until we put our powder on. Dusting a little bit of that just above the eyebrow, sort of bringing that all together. And then of course, down the bridge of the nose to set that blush. Okay, just flipping my brush over, making sure that that's blended into that powder bronzer. Now I'm going to set my under eyes and the center of my face. And I haven't decided what I want to use. I guess I'm going to use Huda, probably. Huda Beauty Pound Cake. So I like to tap it onto the cap. I'm going to use this little guy, the 15 from Refer. Make sure that I'm blended under the eyes. Buff that powder into the brush. Okay, you gotta make crazy faces to set your under eyes. You really, really have to. And then I'm gonna take that down the side of the nose, obviously into the smile line, obviously focusing in the T-zone. Dusting this around the nose, and then just kind of going in and diffusing, because we want everything to be beautifully blended. You obviously don't have to use such a tiny brush, but I do prefer it. I feel like, you know, precision is always my thing. Like, I like tiny. Just going back and forth and like swirling it into my hand, picking up a little bit more. Just taking out whatever's left over on that brush and going over any little areas where I spot concealed. And then I'm gonna take that brush, the blush side of it, and dip it into that powder. And then really just like go in and diffuse everything. I feel like she doesn't wear highlighter because the eyes are such a focus, which hurts a little bit because her nose looks like she's got a ton of highlighter on it. You know? We're gonna go into the eyes. Okay, so she has a beautiful combination of green, aqua, and it looks like gold, and also kind of like a shimmery, milky white on her eyes. And then obviously we have these like gorgeous rhinestones. So I'm gonna do my best to get this as close to the placement as humanly possible. But you know, depending on your eye shape, you might have to adjust things, or you might have to like lose certain little areas if you're trying to recreate this exact makeup look. So I'm gonna be using, for the green color, I'm gonna be using About Face Fluid Eye Paint in the shade Vertigo, which isn't exact. I think this one is like a little bit more like light and pastel. I just don't feel like mixing. So if you want to get like super exact, then you're gonna wanna sort of like bring not only the lightness, but like the opacity down. It's like ever so slightly like more muted than this. This is a little bit brighter. And then for the aqua color, which is also a little bit lighter than this, I'm gonna be using the Trixie Cosmetics Play Pigment in the shade High Score, which is so gorgeous. Like I absolutely love it. It's so beautiful. And then for the gold color, I'm going to be using the Danessa Myricks Color Fix Cream color in the shade Goldmine. So all of these colors are a little bit darker, but it also could just be that like she's much more tan than I actually am. And then for my brushes, I will try to link them or similar ones down below, but some of them are collaborations, so they might not still be available. And then I'm gonna go in with some powder shadows. So I'm gonna use a Rotten palette. It's like the only palette I use. I don't even know why I try to use anything else. I'm gonna use this to set the green, and then I'm gonna use maybe this to set the aqua, just because this is like quite dark compared to hers. And then I might go in with like a little bit of Isamaya Wild Star palette and just use this gold to go over the gold. So now for my inner corner, I'm gonna go in with the ColourPop Cream Gel Liner, the BFF Cream Gel Liner. I'm gonna use these in a second. And I'm going to use this to brighten up the inner corner. Drag it down a little bit, basically just opening up this inner corner. It's really hard to tell if it goes into her inner corner, like into her waterline. So I'm gonna take like a little bit into my waterline, and then it kind of goes up here, like that, I think. Into the green a little bit. Now I'm gonna grab that rougher brush and just kind of buff around those edges. Okay, now that I have that base, I'm gonna go back into the Divination palette, Robert Welch's palette, and I'm going to use number 7, this kind of like white reflect with purple. And I'm gonna set that white. Actually, I'm pivoting instantly because that looks way too purple. Oh, I gotta put a little bit on the other side though, because it needs to be even. I wasn't expecting it to look so purple. I'm gonna go into Crystal from the palette and go over top. So, okay, it's gonna look a little bit purpley, but she basically just has like a white inner corner with some shimmer. And that shimmer seems to kind of blend into that green that's just above it. And then I'm just diffusing on the lower lash line a little bit. I just realized a little bit of unevenness in my eyeliners. Can you see that? This like hump, they like don't connect well. I'm just gonna even that out a little bit. Now I'm gonna do a very soft brow. She has like a very just soft kind of taupey brow. I think I'm just gonna use a little bit of a pencil. So I'm gonna use Anastasia Beverly Hills Taupe Brow Wiz. I'm just going to brush everything up. And her brows are just kind of like, they're just very soft. Like there's hardly anything there. So I'm just gonna extend the tail a little bit, but they're not particularly defined. They're not particularly dark. They're kind of just like a little gentle sort of arch at the tail. Definitely more so focused at the tail, and then kind of diffused in the inner part. But this brow color is a little bit warmer than my brows, so I just want to make sure that I'm taking it through to the front so everything looks even. I'm gonna go in with the Anastasia Brow Freeze Gel just to kind of like set them in place softly. These brow hairs up here just want to go straight up. You do not want to go to the side. Okay, before I do mascara and lashes, I'm gonna go through the rhinestones, which is gonna be such a long process for me. So I'm gonna speed through it. Or only show like a few little clips, but we have multiple colors going on, a variety of rhinestones, some that I got that are like pre-stick from Amazon, some from Half Magic Beauty. I also have some Get Stoned that are not pre-stick, so I'm gonna have to use some lash glue, but they have a lot of different colors going on. We have aqua, red, gold, some oranges. I don't have those exact colors, so I'm gonna kind of just be winging it with what I do have, but obviously use whatever you can. I have some little silver ones. So yeah, we're gonna speed through this whole process, but I am trying to keep it as close to the way that Sophia did it as possible. okay, that was time consuming, but it looks really cool. You can see the like effect of how she created I tried to get as close as possible because I didn't have like exactly the right sizes or products, but how she created kind of the effect of like the claws of the crab and everything. It's like very cool. All right, I'm gonna curl my lashes using my Shiseido lash curler. And I'm gonna be wearing falsies, so I'm not gonna do this like so crazy. Just some pumps at the base of the lashes. Ah! Actually, I have a different mascara that I kind of want to like try. I just picked it up. It's the Lancome Flutter Lash Extension Mascara. Not that it really matters. I'm going to be focusing this, but it's just such a tiny little wand. I'm going to focus this on like the outer lashes. I think all of her lashes are coated, but she has some like cluster lashes or half lashes maybe on the outer perimeter. And I kind of want to just keep the lashes like not like so insanely long because I don't want to cover up all this beautiful work that we did, you know? Okay, I'm gonna come back to the lower lashes after I apply my falsies, so I just can't get, I mean like literally with every single look that I do, I use the Ardell Half Naked, either these, which are the 434 or the 432, I think. I can't remember, but the other ones are a little bit like more fluffy. I've used those in a lot of tutorials recently. These are the same lashes that I used in my Audrey Hepburn look, by the way. So I'm gonna apply them tweezers, and then I'm gonna use my Duo Lash Glue, the dark adhesive. Be careful taking them off of the thing. Sometimes if you like grab the lashes themselves and you don't pull at the base of the lash, you can kind of like rip lashes, and I've done that so many times and just like totally ruined a lash. And I will, as always, link my lash application video up here because it is so helpful if you really struggle, because I know a lot of people do struggle with lash applications. Okay, so placing this on the outer third, basically. Cute. In the meantime, these nails, how perfect are they? Like, are you kidding me? They were recommended to, I think I mentioned these in maybe a live stream. They're from a brand called Lost Angels. You know me, I'm like obsessed with my BT Art Box nails, but they were a recommendation from Gabby, and this style is like so amazing. Just a little close up. Look at those, so pretty. I'm not like the biggest fan of their other styles. I picked up a bunch of them, but this is like really fun. I don't really know what to do for my nose. She definitely has like a highlight going on her nose, like 100%. So, and it looks like sparkly. Yeah, I'm just gonna use the Robert Welsh glittery color, this one right here that I used earlier, the crystal. And I'm gonna do a little bit on the tip of the nose, and then there's definitely a bit down the bridge. And then we just have the lips, and then we can finally be done. She's got quite a brownish deep lip pencil, and then she has like a pinky color on the lips, and then it's very, very glossy, like really glossy. I can't tell if it's a sparkly gloss. I don't think, I mean, it might be. Okay, I'm gonna use Wherever Walnut from Makeup Forever to line my lips, because I think it'll be dark enough. I might need something else. Hers is very, very dark. I just don't really like my lips being that dark. And then just kind of fading it in. It's a little, it's close. Okay, so fading that in, and then I need to use something a little bit darker to do a slight contour. I don't know if this is gonna work. The only step up liner I have from Wherever Walnut is Black Currant from MAC, which is definitely a step up, but I think if I'm strategic, it'll work. So I'm just gonna do a little line the outer perimeter, and then same thing for the lower lip. I'm gonna go back in with Wherever Walnut to kind of just like blend that. So not taking it all the way to that edge, but close. It's pretty incredible. And then she has like a pinky kind of color on her lips. I'm gonna go in with my Rabanne lipstick. I know, oh, actually, yeah, Rabanne. Rabanne it is. this like Pepto pink lipstick. I just keep coming back to it. This is the famous lip color in the shade Ghosted 310, which is a little too cool toned-ish, I think. So I'm just gonna kind of pat it in the center. And then I'm just gonna blot this paper towel. I'm gonna go back in with more for walnut. Recreating a lip is always like the hardest part because you know these makeup artists use like 25 different colors. And then I'm gonna use a gloss. And I think I'm gonna use a sparkly gloss. So I have this one from Edam? I really don't know. I don't think I've ever known how to say it. Edam, whatever. It's a sparkly gloss in the shade Le Chouchou. This is a lip softening balm. But I also really am obsessed with these Vitamasks Lip Maxi Glazes. These just aren't sparkly. So I wanted to use one of these. This is Pink Marshmallow. I think this has like a little bit more of like the tone that I want. So I might go in with like a teeny bit of this first because it has some warmth. And then just pat a little bit of this. They're very similar, like applicators and everything. Ooh, I think that's it, guys. Do I need any cleanup? Let me do a little cleanup real quick. Okay, guys, here is a close-up of the full look. Went and did my hair. Please ignore that I messed up this lash application, probably both lash applications. When I apply them on camera, I have to be so far away from my mirror. If I was applying them normally, I'd be like this, and it blocks my light, so I can't do it. So yeah, it always looks better when I'm not doing it on camera, but this is it. I'm obsessed. It's so incredible. It was really fun to recreate too. All right, guys, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. Oh my God, I just realized I didn't put any mascara on my lower lashes.
Damn it.
You know why? Because she's looking down. God damn it. All right, I gotta do that real quick. She definitely has mascara on her lower lashes. Damn it. Okay, now we're done. Now we did it. Now we're done. Whoops. Okay, I just like popped on some lower lash line mascara. Kept it to the outer perimeter, well, I don't know why I keep saying that, the outer corner, so that inner corner can stay like nice and bright. This is the finest finished look. Zara Larson is a makeup artist's dream. Like, she just is maximalism. Like, her makeup is just maximalism. And Sophia Sano is such an artist, and they are just like such a great combination, like an incredible combination. I love all of the makeup looks that Sophia does on Zara. And something that I have to say, I have a lot of respect for the fact that Zara herself will repost Sophia's work a lot. And she will also post like straight up close-ups of the makeup. Like, she really lets the makeup shine, which I really appreciate. Because I feel like you should. Like, a pop star is, you know, they have like a whole team behind them. Like, Zendaya's white look was so incredible because of Ernesto, because of La Roche, because of Corey Moreno, like because of all of those people and her, you know what I mean? It's a team effort. So I really appreciate that Zara is constantly like uplifting Sophia's work because she's incredible, obsessed. So I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial. If you do recreate it, it's time consuming. It's definitely time consuming. Anything with rhinestones, so much fun. It doesn't feel like, oh, it's that much work because it's just like a bunch of rhinestones in your face. It's time consuming, okay? Love. Please tag me in any photos if you do recreate it, and let me know what celebrity recreations you want to see next. Marilyn is on my list. People have been asking me for Sophia Loren, but I like just did a Sophia Loren look, and I have an old one, so I don't know. But yeah, whomever, you just let me know, and I'll see you soon, dude.